well, it can't be that easy. It's got to be harder than that. No, it's not harder than that. But if you make it up in your head that it's harder than that, and then every little thing that frustrates you is an excuse for you to quit, then don't do it. Do not do it. Don't sit there and refuse to learn anything and then come back at me and say, well, it's hard. No, you're miserable. And you're going to continue to be miserable, and that's your choice. So stop with that. I don't want to hear it. Hi again, everybody. One of the things that I promised you that I would start talking about this year is how to start a business in retirement or pre-retirement or whatever, just a side gig. Let's call it a side gig. And realize I am just going to be sharing what I'm doing. As many of you know, I relocated to another state, and I decided to go ahead and start a business again from scratch, which I've done many times. Can do it, not a problem. But I decided to come out of semi-retirement and do a business full-time again. I have a ton of skills, so that's not a problem. Many of you do too. And given the financial situation with many retirees, they would really like to supplement their incomes, at least a little bit. Some people would love to work full-time again. If you're one of those people that needs a lot to do, turns out I am. I do way better when I have a lot to do, then this might be for you as well. Now realize, as I go through these things, I am going to be talking about my experience and what I'm doing for me. Your experience may be completely different. That's fine. Your circumstances are definitely going to be different than mine. Your skill set may be very different from mine. But these same ideas can apply to a multitude of things. So I'm just going to talk you through those. And I will apologize up front. I gave Gracie a bone so she would zip it over there and not bother us. And so you're going to hear little teeth gnawing over there. It is what it is. So let's get started. Now the first thing people worry about is setting up a business. I am just setting myself up as a sole proprietor. Very easy to do. Doesn't require a ton of paperwork. I do have to file a DBA with the county in this case. And it varies. Maybe it's with the city. Maybe you need a license with your city. Maybe you will have to check that out depending on where you're at. You will have to check that out. And as far as how things are taxed and what you need to charge, your local business people will be able to tell you. There may be a business little incubator in your town. There was even one in the small town I lived in Raton. They could tell you tax rate, what you have to do, the process you have to go through. Here where I'm at now in Texas, there's a good size one that's connected with the community college you can go to for free that will walk you through everything. Or you can get your own advisor, your own accountant, your own lawyer, whatever. Whatever you do, be sure you get good information before you start. But what I'm doing, I'm setting it up as a sole proprietor, super easy. Now my business is doing content for people. Content being blogs, articles, social media content, website content, writing books, doing editing, doing all sorts of author services. Everything to do with writing. It's basically a writing business, but it's a marketing business where I am doing the marketing content for businesses, predominantly. That's all businesses. And so since it's a business to business type of business, that makes it easy to get started because businesses need services. That is a lot easier to me than starting a business where you need basic customers because they're harder. You have to convince them to buy things. Businesses already need things. They need marketing. They need help. And so to me, that's easier. However, if you are wanting to start a business, and let me give you some examples, you're wanting to do online classes. Maybe you have a teaching background, you have a nursing background, you have some kind of background that helps you to train people how to do things. Okay, great. You can do a business like that. Maybe you want to do a business where you are baking things or making things for people, but you don't want to be forced to just sell at like during the summer at farmers markets. You can still do that, but during the winter you still need a way to sell, right? So it could apply to a business like that. To any business where you make a product, it's not hard to do. And like I say, these businesses can be done part-time or full-time, your choice. Maybe at certain times of the year it is more full-time, and other times of the year it's less so. And one of the reasons that these side gigs, which for me, mine's going to be full-time, so it's not a side gig, but one of the reasons that these side gigs are so beneficial is that you still have the flexibility of being retired. If you decide you want to be gone for 2 weeks and go visit the kids or go on a cruise, you still can. Not that you couldn't do that if you were working full-time. If you plan ahead, you absolutely can. The flexibility you have when you are retired is one of those things people hate to give up. If they want to go and do or go play golf because the sun's shining one day, they want to be able to do it. And so a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about allow you to do that because it retains that flexibility. Now, if you want to do these things full-time, you have at it. I'm doing them full-time and really enjoying it again. I think I'd gotten a little bit bored with myself being semi-retired because, as many retired people will tell you, and I have even told y'all many times, one of the things that you find out in retirement is you get bored. You need things to do. And I had many things that filled up my time, but I need something that really drives me, that gives me a lot of purpose. Helping other business people really gives me purpose, and I enjoy it. So here we go. I'm setting mine up as a sole proprietor, like I said. One of the first things I did was set up a website. Now, that sounds like it's a big deal, but let me tell you, y'all, this has changed dramatically just in the past 3 or 4 years. Anybody now can set up a website. You do not need to know any code. It is literally, you click on the type of website you want, you fill in the pictures, you put in your text, that's it. It is so simple. Back when everyone was doing WordPress sites, and a lot of people still do, there's a huge learning curve because WordPress wasn't easy and it was miserable. And so people spent thousands on websites. Not anymore. I am doing my website through Hostinger. My hosting is costing me $2 a month. $2. Not 20, not 200, $2 a month. So basically $24 a year. My domain name is costing me, I believe it's $14 a year. So not even 50 bucks this website is costing me. And I also have an email service that's a little bit more expensive, but it's like $4 a month. So y'all, that's super cheap on a monthly basis. And of course I pay it multi-year at a time. So I have it for several years, but very, very cheap. Very cheap. So I have my hosting. That's where your website lives. That's the house. And I have my domain name. That's your address. And I have my email set up. That's all you need. And I will do a separate video to show you how I do that because I'm going to set up a whole nother, I've got several websites to set up. And here again, that's something I have added to my skill set. I didn't used to do websites for people because I couldn't code. Well, now, because I do all the content for websites, it's very easy for me to do websites for people and for authors, and I do all the time. So as I do a few of those, and I've got one that I need to set up for a guy who ties flies, fishing flies, and I also have one I want to set up for me personally under my own name, and I already have that domain, and I'll show you how to do those. So be looking forward to that. But anyway, set up your website. It is not a big deal and not hard. Then, how do you get business? Now, I am going to tell you some basic things to do to get business. And they're going to apply to any business you have, whether you're doing business to business, business to consumer, whatever you are doing, it will apply. Business is nothing more than getting to know people. And you may be thinking, oh, but I do know people. I know people at church, and I know people, at the club. And I know, okay, those people know you as retired or know you as whatever. But that does not mean they will buy from you. One of the things I run across all the time, especially with authors, is they'll talk about how they got all this support and encouragement from their family and their friends, and they put their book up for sale. None of their family and friends buy it. They all want one for free, but they don't want to buy it. That will happen with your business. Don't expect your family and friends or people you know right now to support your business financially. That's unrealistic. A lot of times they don't. Most of the time they don't. You have to go out there and make your business on strangers. How are you going to do that? Well, one of the first things I did when I decided I was going to do this was I immediately joined local networking groups. These networking groups may be, groups of people who are business people, like a business networking group, Lions Club, Rotary Club, BNI, that's Business Networking International, I think. Anyway, those sorts of groups. Some of those groups cost to join. Some local groups don't cost to join, and I am in some of both, and I network a lot. Now, I'm going to be right up front and say, it is not my favorite thing. No, I am an introvert at heart, and so going out and trying to make small talk with people is one of those things I find very difficult. Now, if someone asked me to get up and speak to 2,000 people, no problem. I can talk to people, and I've presented at conferences and done all that. That is not a big deal. But having to talk one-on-one with people and think of things to say and create that relationship is one of those things that's always been a challenge for me. But if you're going to be in business, you're going to learn to do it. So go out there and do it. There are so many events you can go and attend. And every time you attend those events, whether it be a chamber after hours or whatever it is, you are networking with people. Now you may think, yeah, but I'm just going to do a little food business. I don't want to. Everybody eats. Everybody eats. And the cool thing about business people is they all talk. They all talk. And the people I find that generally talk the most are realtors and hairdressers. So if you're doing some sort of business that requires consumers to buy, like for example, a home baked goods business, a woodworking business, anything like that, where you're going to need people to know about you and call you and buy from you, you can take samples up to a hairdresser, your hairdresser, and say, hey, can I put some of these here? Or can you try these? Or can I leave some flyers here? And you can leave your things there. That is a great way to market. The same is true with realtors. Once they find something they love, it's like they tell everybody. It's just the nature of realtors. Real estate attracts very social people. And so getting to know some of those really social people will help you with connections. They'll introduce you to people. They'll get your name out there. So there are many ways you can do it. It's not about just setting up a business and advertising. But it is that too. So don't think you can get away with not spending money. You're going to need to spend some money. Once you have your website up, one of the things you should also do is be sure you create your social media accounts. And you don't have to do them all. If most of your market is the over 50 market, most of those people are on Facebook, whether they want to be or not. Or Instagram, one of those two. They don't really do LinkedIn because that's for really active business people. They don't really do Twitter because for whatever reason, for that age group, Twitter wasn't really a thing, and it still isn't. So most of those people are going to be Facebook and Instagram, which is great because you can automatically post to both every time you post to one. So it saves you a lot of time. You can also advertise really easily and very cheaply on those platforms. One of the things that Facebook learned over time was instead of trying to sell advertising and marketing to big companies, they realized the money was in small business. So they have made small business advertising very, very easy. Anybody can get on there and do it. To do it, you're going to need a professional page. A business page is what they call it, not your personal page. You need a business page in order to advertise. And doing a page like that gets you several benefits. Number one, it's unlimited. If you have a personal Facebook account, you're limited to 5,000 followers, which sounds like a huge number, but if you're in business, it's not a huge number. So if you do a professional page, it's an unlimited kind of thing. You also cannot advertise from your personal page. You have to have a business page. And that helps you keep those things separate. When it comes tax time and you're needing to deduct or claim those business expenses, having that business page where all your advertising is on that business page is very helpful. It makes it very easy. So That's one thing you need to be aware of. But other than that, it's very simple. Now, if there's something there that you don't know how to do, you have to learn. And then you have to continue to learn. One of the things you have to commit to as a business person is constantly learning. That's true in life. Everything always changes. And if you're up on things and you are doing your business even on a limited basis, you're ahead of the game. And that's a fabulous thing, because you have that ability to adjust your income, to bring in more income, to do something you love. And that is a wonderful avenue for a lot of people. Not for everybody. I know some people who want to be retired, they just want to be retired. That's fine. But if you want something more to do and you want to bring in some income, this is for you. And one of the things, I actually went over this with someone this week that was wanting to do a writing business. And I'm booking some speaking gigs here this next year, next 2 years. And most of my speaking gigs are on teaching writers how to start a writing business, which is what mine is. It's actually a writing business. It's a content business. It's caprockcontent.com if y'all want to go over there and look at it. But anyway, I was telling somebody about this is what you do and this is how you do it. And their first comment was, well, it can't be that easy. It's got to be harder than that. No, it's not harder than that. But if you make it up in your head that it's harder than that, and then every little thing that frustrates you is an excuse for you to quit, then don't do it. Do not do it. Don't sit there and refuse to learn anything and then come back at me and say, well, it's hard. No, you're miserable. And you're going to continue to be miserable, and that's your choice. So stop with that. I don't want to hear it. It really is straightforward. It really is simple. But it does require work. It's not like you can snap your fingers and someone's going to show up at your door with $1 million. That is not going to happen. It's going to take work. The second question this person asked me was, well, okay, if I do all this stuff and get it, what kind of money am I going to make? That is 100% dependent on you. However, I have done businesses before. I'm experienced. I know what I'm doing. I also have a tremendous skill set. So it's been pretty easy for me. And in a very, very short time, I'm able to cover all my monthly expenses plus some. My goal is to double my monthly expenses so I can pay down some debt. I acquired quite a bit of debt when I moved, and during while my brother was going through his cancer before he died, I lived on credit cards for quite a bit there. And so I want to pay that down. And I'll easily be able to do that. But it doesn't come just with a snap of a finger. Even for me, someone who's very experienced, who has done these things before, who knows what they're doing, and has that skill set, it still takes work. And I know that work is worth it because I know that money is there to get. So it's very easy for me to keep at it because I'm not frustrated because it doesn't happen instantly. I know over just a few short months it will happen. And I'll be sitting pretty again. So it's not that big a deal to me. But I understand when it feels like to you, and it may, like it's this insurmountable mountain. It's not. That is something you're making up in your mind. And you have to commit and resolve to not allow those fears and those uncertainties and that imposter syndrome to get a hold of you. Because it's ridiculous. People need services you can offer. They need your help. And it's up to you to go out and get that money and get that business. So this is just going to be the first video in me doing these things. And the next video, hopefully, I will be working on a website so y'all can see how that's done. But if you've enjoyed this video, please let me know. And I'll be doing more content like this. And I hope to see you there.